Somebody get a drum roll, please. Okay guys, so today is going to be an amazing YouTube video because I'm taking you behind the scenes on how we were able to help a generative AI SaaS company add $2.2 million with just 3 writers writing over 1,000 articles in 7 months. How we were able to do that, you'll learn that today. So why am I taking you behind our secret sauce? Well, because I want you to join the AI SEO writing community. No, I'm not trying to sell you a training on prompting. This video will do just that. But the reason why is because we want to help offshore writers earn at least $1,700 per month with content automation. And where did I get this number? There's writers already doing that in this community. So buckle up, get pen and paper out, because you're gonna learn the right way to do AI SEO writing with content automation. So let's go. In 2024, you are no longer getting paid for your writing. You're getting paid for your visibility, how much visibility you can bring content, and how well that content converts, okay? This is how the top writers are going to make money moving forward, point blank, period. And in order for you to be able to do that, we've tested and ran over 3,000 articles. We've tried all different tools. GPT beats them all. And the reason why is this process right here, the customization piece of GPT. You cannot find it in any other tool because they're trying to get this process away from you. But this is your power, because in order for you to move with speed, you need to give the AI brain, which is GPT, enough context in order for it to spit out the right output. So input is the most important piece. And so here's how you prime and prep your GPT. So number one, you tell it who you are and your goals. If you miss this, you'll always be editing the outputs, okay? So get this right so we can understand who you are at a base and create content from that base, okay? This is why people say, oh, GPT sucks. No, it's because you haven't primed it, you haven't prepped it. It's just like makeup. If you miss the foundational steps of putting on good makeup, it's gone. If you miss the ingredients of your special smoothie, you know it's not special anymore. You can tell. This is the same way when it comes to priming and prepping GPT, okay? So you need to tell it who you are and your goals at the beginning of every single thread, okay? So I put this thread into GPT here. You can see here that it has updated its memory, and now it's telling you that, hey, I know who you are. Now tell me what I need to do. And as you can see here, GPT is ready to get into our first blog post. Great, but not great for SEO, okay? And I'll tell you why in a bit, but let's go back to this. Then you need to tweak it. Make sure that this piece, it understands you very, very well, because once again, we're building Legos, okay? If this doesn't understand you, the tower will fall based on its lack of understanding, but it'll go quicker in the end process if it understands your goals and who you are correctly. So once this lines up, I don't need it to generate another blog for me. It's accurate. You can go to this page. It's accurate. I already checked, but that's good. Now, second thing is variables to include. Now, there are 3 variables that you must always include. Is your website for the memory, the location, which is so critical for SEO, and the end goal, okay, which should be blog content or whatever end goal that you have. Now, let's move on. So here's where it gets a bit tricky. There's 2 schools of thoughts when it comes to GPT and prompting. You can either go straight from the priming and prepping into an article generation, or you can generate an outline and then tweak it from there. So here's what I suggest to you. Whenever you are using an article, okay, whenever you go straight into the article, this is usually because the keyword doesn't have as much competition, or it's a high awareness type of keyword, okay? So you can kind of get away with going straight into the article if you follow this entire prompt, okay? Now, using an outline, so right, going into the outline and then prompting it even more, the reason why that's done is because keywords are usually more competitive. So if a keyword is more competitive, if it's more saturated, you're probably going to need to go the outline route, okay? If it's not as competitive, this is why you have to use SEO when you're thinking about these articles. You can't just come in here and just say, hey, I'm going to just prime and prep this and not have a fundamental understanding of SEO, because that's not going to give you, once again, the visibility that you need, because you need SEO to get you the visibility, to get the result, okay, to ultimately get here. So here is prompt number 2. And for this example, I'm just going to use the outline. So create a 1,500 word count article, or you can use outline. If it's highlighted in orange, that means that you get to decide where you want to go. But for now, we're going to use article. From this keyword, insert the keyword. So that either should be given to you, or you should have that from your content manager, SEO wise, using this title. So insert title. Now here's where I want to pause. Everyone is going to use a GPT title. That is not advisable, because after you consistently see GPT titles, you know them. The best thing to use is your mind, because from there you can actually improve it, and you can say, okay, this actually sounds unique. GPT has a very interesting style of writing, okay? Unless you're just constantly training it, if you're doing just 2 prompts, you're going to want to use a little bit of your brain to make it sound more natural and not artificial. And this is why it's critical to generate the title on your own, from your own observations of the search engine results page, particularly the top 5 results. Okay? So then you make sure the article is unique but has all the common elements of these 3 pages. This you can do automatically. You just copy and paste the URL. But once again, you're not doing a competitor. You're doing a competitor for that keyword, right? So if you're a florist, you're not going to be competing against, the biggest florist nationwide. You're probably not going to be competing against them. You're going to be competing against, remember, we're going back to here, local florist. Why? Because if you go to this GPT here, if you go here, and let's just say you go to a local florist in Michigan. So if I type here florist in Michigan, it's not giving me text results. It's giving me Google My Business results and then text results. Okay. So your competitors are Flowers in Mitten, the Flower Alley, and then Thrifty Florist, right? So you need to also go from this perspective. And this is why you have to understand SEO fundamentally, because when you do, you can decipher who are your true competitors and have an actual keyword strategy that's going to work. Okay, the more specific you are, the better the output will be. Okay, so long story short, you need to determine the top 3 competitors. You can use Flowers in Mitten, you can use the Flower Alley, and then you can use 1 text result. But this is important. Okay. So now we're here. We've put in the keyword competitive link, the URL specific link. And then lastly, this is where you're going to need to use a content grader. Okay. You can use any content grader. Content graders usually scrape the top 10 results and they give you the commonalities. Okay. Even though I've stated it here, a content grader is going to try to mimic Google more than GPT is, right? Because GPT's goal is to get you a better output, but a content grader is to get you SEO visibility. So you need to use a content grader and list all of the keywords. People skip out on this online, but when I tell you, it's super important, because it's going to give you so much uniqueness that it won't be AI generated. But if you skip this step, your content is going to be just like everyone else's. Okay. This is critical. So this is like a perfect mashup of a prompting. And this is just for an article specific one. Okay. So this is prompt number 2. Okay. And then element number 3 is pretty simple. Even if you're going the article route or the outline route, continue. Everyone's going to tell you this. GPT usually does not do good at generating long form content. Okay. So it's not good at that. So just know that if it generates a shorter article, which 9 times out of 10 it will, you need to press continue and it'll go on. Like that got me stuck for so long, but let's move on. GPT usually doesn't honor word count. So even though I put the word count in, I have to give it a North Star, because I'm constantly training. You want to get into the mind of, I'm training this person, AI, to be, it's not a person, but I'm training this to be my assistant. So if I need it to be my assistant, I need to give it the right context. So it needs to know when it fails. If it says continue, as you progress, it's going to give you longer and longer and longer articles. Okay. So like I said, GPT doesn't usually honor that. But once you get to a good, solid article, let's go ahead and move on. So this section is like really important, mainly because GPT is like I said, it gives you short and choppy sentences, and you guys probably have already seen that. So you need to elaborate on this section. But where I see a lot of people going wrong is they don't specifically understand why they're elaborating that section, right? You look at it from an aesthetic point, you're like, okay, this is too choppy. It doesn't look like competitors. But the reality of it is you always have to be gauging everything from the top 3 competitors, okay? So I believe that that's found here. You always need to be gauging. So if my competitors are talking about this section, and this is what we call keyword density. An article has a specific amount of density for a specific topic. So if you're just elaborating to elaborate because it doesn't look good on the surface, then you're not really doing anything. You have to understand that people, it's like if we're having a conversation and we're talking about red bottoms, and I'm talking about Louis Vuitton, and I'm talking about how hard they are to walk in, and then you come in the conversation and you're talking about, I don't know, Walmart shoes. Like, it's a totally different conversation. But from a keyword perspective, you think red shoes. But that's not how semantics work in SEO. There's keyword density. So you have to go back and understand the SERPs and go through every competitor and say, what percentage are they talking about this topic? And once you have that article, so let's say, for instance, here, as you can see here, this is an older one that I took from our long information here. So if you want this is our exact guide of what we use to generate the article, to edit it, to make sure it doesn't sound like AI. It's pretty long. As you can see here, it's 8 pages. If you guys want it, let me know, drop it in the chat. I'm happy to give it to those who join the community. But to go back, if I go to the old thread here, I can see that, okay, I have all this information, but I'm going to go down and specifically ask it to elaborate on certain sections, because I went back to the SERPs, the search engine results page. I analyzed the top 3 pages, and this you have to do manually. And I saw what they're talking about more of and why, and then elaborated on those sections. So that's why it's super important to elaborate on the right sections. Just don't elaborate just because it doesn't look aesthetically. You have to elaborate on the topics that are having the most density, that are driving the most traffic to that blog. Okay? So this is why SEO is super important. Now let's go back. Now, to further elaborate, once you've elaborated on the sections and you kind of have your pieces of articles and you're piecing it together, you always have to make sure from the content grader that you put in all of the missing keywords, okay? Because that content grader has put in this concept in search, because search is an algorithm. It uses AI. It's been using AI. It just wasn't open source. Now that we have open source, semantics is what helps LLMs be able to communicate with us. So when you go to AI and you type into ChatGPT, they're semantically tying the keywords together that you're typing in so they can better understand what you're saying and get an output. That's what makes ChatGPT so marvelous. AI and algorithms and large language modeling has always been there, but because it's able to figure out semantically how to answer our questions faster than ever before, and it's available to everyone, that's why everyone has been going crazy about it. So you have to obsess about semantics of the conversation to really get this piece of content to rank, okay? This is where the juice is. So you cannot just overlook this concept. You have to do this. This is really, really critical. So remember, semantics is algorithms and NLP, LLMs. That's what it's all about. It's about how to tie this conversation in and make it make sense to the public, okay? Okay, guys, and last but not least, this is super duper important. Include an FAQ section. And I don't mean to say this because everyone includes one. The reason why you want to include an FAQ section is because the SGE experience is going to pull 80% from what we've researched from your FAQ section that has been marked up with schema markup. And these are a part of the things that we teach in the AI SEO writing community, is how to give you a holistic view of SEO and writing so you can have the right outputs to generate visibility and conversions, not just writing, okay? So this is a critical component with the new SGE experience. Everyone's complaining that they're losing traffic, and 100% of the time they will, because they're not optimizing for technical SEO. Most sites, this is where they lack, and Google is prioritizing sites that, according to their March 2024 update, the Core Web Vitals update that no one's talking about, but it's critical to getting visibility in the SGE experience. You have to have technical SEO, okay? So to run that back one more time, including FAQs, marking them up with schema markup, which we talk about in the community on how to do this effectively for your clients and how to recommend them and why, is going to be pivotal to you gaining the attention that you need in this SGE experience. And this is what I mean by SGE experience. It's a bit of this. This is like more like Google My Business. It can be a little bit more robust than this. But as you can see, this SGE experience is doing its best to learn about how people search for this keyword. So it's going to be more sliced in how the SERPs recommend content. Okay, so before it was just 10 blue lines. Now it's a map and a local SEO, and then it's this. So it has different variables. So you need to have the technical SEO components in order for Google to be able to read your website, because it reads the code, and then to be able to service that information in this generative AI experience. That's critical. Okay, guys, so this is all for now. This is like gonna get you like better than what I've seen online, because everyone's hiding their prompts. And I understand everybody wants to make $1, but the reality of it is, join our community, because things are moving so quick in AI, and because our jobs are tied, SEO's job is tied to the success of content writers. We are going to be teaching you how to make that money that you need to survive and to feed your family in the right way in the AI age, when it's wiping out millions of writers. You're going to be one of the writers that survive, and not only survives, but thrives because of it. So join the AI SEO writing community on Beehive. You will get access to this editing checklist if you need it and you want it. I highly suggest you get it, because we still use it to this day. It's like imprinted in our brains, but we want to make sure that you are able to do the things that you need to do for your family, and really just go out there and kick butt the way you need to kick butt, and solve really great problems for great businesses that need more visibility and more conversions and more revenue. All right, that's all for now.